Yo, welcome back to the channel, y'all. Today we're going to be making one of my favorite crowd pleasers, Bang Bang Shrimp. But first, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel as I'll be dropping weekly recipe videos just like this. Alright, let's get started. So first, I went ahead and got some of the fattest shrimp I've ever seen from my local grocer. I got these already peeled and deveined, but you always like to double check because sometimes they miss them and you don't want to eat that stuff. So I'm going to double check that they're deveined, and then I'm actually going to remove the tails because I hate Bang Bang shrimp or any shrimp that is covered in sauce with the tail on. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that these are deveined, and I'm going to remove all of the tails off of these shrimp so they'll be ready to go. Now that that's done, what I'm going to do is add some buttermilk. Now, I'm just going to cover the buttermilk over the shrimp. I'm not really measuring how much I'm using here because we're just going to let this kind of soak for an hour or so. But I'm going to add my buttermilk, then I'm going to add 1 egg into the mixture, and then I'm just going to add some hot sauce. Now, the hot sauce is optional, but I do like an extra little kick on mine. So, I mean, it is Bang Bang Shrimp, of course. So, add in your favorite hot sauce, and then what I'm going to do is just give that a stir and let that soak for an hour. Or if you have more time, you can make this and let this sit for a while and let it absorb all of that flavor. Now, if you have your own way of frying shrimp, if you've mastered it over the years, go ahead and feel free to use that. Everybody does this differently, but I'm just going to show you how I like to fry my shrimp for a nice crispy battered crust. But the star of the show is going to be the sauce, of course, so feel free to fry the shrimp however you like. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on our sauce, our Bang Bang sauce, while we let that shrimp marinate in the buttermilk mixture. So first I'm going to go in with about half a cup of mayo. If you don't like mayo, that's okay. I'm not a big fan of mayo, but I love it in this sauce and it is necessary, so don't skip it. And then I'm going to go in with about 1/4 a cup of sweet chili sauce, and then 1/4 a cup of hot sauce. Now the hot sauce that I'm using is sriracha. I recommend that you do stick with that. And then I'm going to go in with about 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. Now this step is completely optional, but I love the extra kick, so I'm going to add in some red pepper flakes here. Alright, now go ahead and grab a whisk or a fork and give that a good mix. Now this isn't going to look that appetizing as you mix it, I'm not going to lie to you, but keep mixing and it's going to start turning into that bright orange color that you recognize from Bang Bang Shrimp. So I actually like to make this a couple hours early. The sauce just tastes better to me and the flavors come out more. So I'll tend to make it a couple hours early, covered in saran wrap, and then just let it sit until I'm ready to use it. Alright, so go ahead and put the sauce away. Then we can move back to our shrimp. So first we're going to prepare our batter here. So I'm going to use half a cup of cornstarch and half a cup of flour. And of course we got to season that, so I'm going to go in with some Tony's Creole seasoning and then a bit of salt and pepper. Now you don't want to go too crazy with the seasoning here because the Bang Bang sauce is going to be the star of the show, but you do want to build layers of flavor here, so we are going to season our flour as usual. So go ahead and season that and give it a good mixture, and then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and get our shrimp out and go to work. Alright, now I'm going to show y'all how to fry up some shrimp. Even if you don't cover these in Bang Bang sauce, these fried shrimp would be some of the best you've had, so feel free to use this recipe just whenever you want fried shrimp in general. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get started. So, only thing you need to do is grab your shrimp out of the buttermilk mixture and go ahead and toss it in that flour. Make sure it's nice and coated and kind of press down on the flour so that it actually coats the shrimp, and then add it to a wire rack to chill out for a while. Go ahead and repeat that process for all of your shrimp, and the key is going to be after it's sat for maybe 5 to 10 minutes on the wire rack, we're actually going to do it again to give it a double coating. So this is just because we are using half cornstarch here, and cornstarch is pretty light, and if you don't double batter it, the batter will fall off, but it also gives you an amazing crispy batter here, so that's why we're using it. So go ahead and make sure you do this twice and get a nice coating on them. Alright, once we got our shrimp all nice and battered, it's going to be time to fry. So I'm going to go in with some vegetable oil, and you can also use peanut oil. I actually recommend peanut oil, but I didn't have any at the time. So use what you have. And then we're going to get that oil up to about 350 degrees here. Today I'm going to be using my big cast iron skillet. This is the 12-inch. I need a name for this one, guys. What should I name them? Comment down below and let me know what the name of this cast iron should be. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get my shrimp into the hot oil here. And the key is do not overcrowd and do not overcook. So make sure you're not overcrowding the pan, and also make sure you're not overcooking. Now these shrimp here are fat, so they obviously gained a extra 15 this quarantine like I did. So I'm gonna end up cooking these for about 3 minutes on each side, which is not long at all. So just monitor them. You don't want to walk away here and then you end up with rubbery shrimp. Now about halfway through, you do want to go ahead and flip these over. Make sure we get both sides cooked evenly. And then once they're cooked, we're just going to take them off, and I'm going to add them back to a clean wire rack so that that oil can drip off. I like doing this instead, just so they're not sitting in the oil, as traditionally we would just add them to a paper towel, but I like to let that excess oil drip off and that batter to remain nice and crispy. Now since we use cornstarch and flour, these are going to be a nice light golden brown. So don't be alarmed if they're light. That's perfectly fine. That's how they should be. It's actually too bad that we're going to cover them in sauce because they are beautiful. Alright y'all, so go ahead and pull out that sauce that we finished earlier, and then we're just going to get a nice coating on our shrimp. So I'm just going to dip the shrimp in here, and then I'm going to add it back to the wire rack to let the excess drip off. Otherwise it's going to drip all over your plate, so you may want that or you may not, but it's up to you, just depending on how much sauce you like. But you're pretty much done now, so go ahead and dig in. I added some green onion just for a pop of color here, and it adds a nice little flavor on there, and you're pretty much done. If you have not already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I do drop weekly recipe videos just like this. And if you do make it, tag me on Instagram. I love seeing you guys make these recipes and how you put your own spin on them. As always, thank you for the support and enjoy.